our team had a team meeting about 2023, and we're like, hey, what's the story you're telling yourself for 2023? Right? And we went through this exercise, and it was really powerful for us. Like the story you're telling yourself. And then after that, we were like, hey, what wins did you have, both personal and professional? What lessons did you learn? What books did you read? You list out your blessings. Who's new in your life? Who's gone from your life? I mean, sometimes you got to get rid of toxic people, right? What worked in 2023 that has to happen in 2024? What new things do you have to do? What things you got to get rid of, like clothes, food, health, booze, who knows? But we went through that exercise over 2 meetings, 2 1-hour meetings. I'd say we probably took a half hour each time, and it revealed a lot to us. So think about those things, and you can drop it in the chat. If you want to cover that on our next Agent Academy in January, let me know. We can go through planning, business planning, because we talk about a plane's off course almost 100% of the time. From the time it takes off, say it's going from Pittsburgh to Fort Worth, Texas, it's off course almost 100% of the time. But that pilot's making small tweaks the whole way to make sure it gets to its destination. And so I can sit down with you and give you an exercise with the 2 sheets that'll say, what are your goals? How do we get there? And break it down to like, what do you have to do every day to get to the goal that you have by the end of the year? And it could be personal, business, spiritual, physical. Like we can go through all that together if you'd like to. The other thing I want to bring to your attention are most realtors LLCs. Like I know you're like independent contractors, but do you have an LLC set up? Is that the way you guys have set up? Okay. Did you hear about the new rule that came out with the filings that you have to have done next year if you own an LLC? Does anybody? No? It's brutal, right? So like if you don't file this paperwork, I think, Matt, you were on the call with me. I think it's like $500 a day penalty if you don't file this report. And so I want to say this out loud. If you have an LLC, you absolutely need to know this. If this is something that you would rather have on the next Agent Academy, I can call an attorney on who talked to me and Matt about it that can get ahead of this. You have all of next year to file this paperwork. It's very tricky. It's brand new and it's complex. But I can easily get the attorney on here if you'd like. Just drop it in the chat which one you'd want. You want business planning or do you want the LLC attorney to come on? And then, okay. So then I'll get him on here. And then real quick before we get started with Matt talking about plumbing, because some of the stuff Matt told me about plumbing, I didn't know. And I'm like, my family makes fun of me because my dad was an iron worker. My brother's an iron worker. All my brother-in-laws were master carpenters. You're supposed to have this common sense around the house. By the time I came through, my dad was like, get a job pushing a pencil. So like I quit digging ditches. I quit carrying brick and block. I quit putting on roofs. So I didn't know these things. I'm like, if I'm the only, I can't be the only one that doesn't know this stuff that Matt was sharing when we were in a couple meetings together. And I'm like, I need everybody to notice, especially if you're a real estate agent and you can help your clients with this stuff too. But the one thing is this, I want Tom to speak, Tom Hanf to speak for a minute, because Tom knows the market. He knows the stock market. He knows the mortgage rates. He knows this stuff. This is his passion. And Tom, you can take it from here. I'm excited about 2024 as an agent. You should be ramped up. You should be ready to crush 2024. There's going to be way more business for you in 24 than there was in 23. One, because of rates. The other thing, if you're not following us already on social media, just go to Lagoni Mortgage Group on whatever platform you like. There was legislation that just got started. These hedge fund companies, I've been talking about this for years. They keep buying up all the single family resident homes, and it's killing the American dream because an individual can't compete with a hedge fund company. And even when we were at WJR at Washington County Country Club, I just got done getting from in front of the room talking about this. We go in the back, the waiter is back there throwing a fit. And I go, my man, what's up? What's the matter? And I didn't even know. He goes, I just went 30 grand in over asking price on a triplex. And some dude showed up in a 7 Series with an envelope and beat me out for cash. And I'm guessing it was an LLC, right? But we talk about this stuff all the time on social media, so you can share it. So there's legislation coming out saying they're going to ban hedge fund companies from buying single family resident homes. And then what they do currently own, they got to sell off over a 10-year period. And so that would create supply. We know supply has been the biggest challenge for us over the past couple of years. So this would hopefully help purchase prices, right? And help more American citizens be able to buy property. And for me, for the past 2 years, I've been running around telling my family, my friends, and my community, you need to own real estate sooner rather than later because the values are only going up. But Tom, with that said, can you talk a little bit about rates? Where do you see them going and what will happen in the market? Because 2024, you should be spring loaded as an agent, ready to crush it.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey, are you able to give me a screen share?
Should be good.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second. All right. Good morning, everybody. Can you see my screen? Yep, good. Okay. All right. So that's always the big question in everybody's mind, right? What's happening with rates? Where are they going? What's going on? What's happening right now? So just really quickly, here's the rate chart. This is a mortgage-backed security pricing chart. So essentially what it means is that when the chart is going up, it means rates are going down. So you can see we've had a really good month or two since really October 30th. Rates have started coming back down. So where we are now is I'm expecting a really good 24. Rates are going to come down and buyers are going to flood the market again. If you just kind of look here over the last year, you see rates just have got kind of decimated every day. Things were just trending up and up and up, and they finally started to come back down. So the Fed has pivoted very drastically, really, over the last month. And they went from, we're not going to leave rate hikes off the table and they're going to be higher for longer, et cetera, et cetera. And they completely did a 180 and said, we're expecting to drop rates 4 times next year. Rate drops are when recessions happen and things drop, which is good for us. That's when rates drop and recessions happen, we're the people who benefit, the real estate world. That's when people start buying because rates start dropping so heavily and people are like, oh, great. They went from 7 down to 5. I'm good to go. So the Fed is actually telling us that there's probably going to be a recession, or they're saying soft landing, but that's what you say so you don't spook the economy, right? You have to be really careful with your word choice. Otherwise, trillions of dollars move. So Jerome Powell has to be very careful about what he's saying, but they're really setting us up for that to happen. And I just wanted to show you guys something. This is a really cool chart. I like it because what this is the yield curve. And this is a 100% accurate depiction of recession. Since the 70s, the yield curve has predicted a recession 100% of the time. So it's nice because it's a completely accurate indicator and there are very, very few of them. So this is what the yield curve should look like. If you buy a 3-month bond from the government, you would expect to make less money than if you buy a 30-year bond, right? You invest for longer, you make more money. This is what it should look like. This is what's called an inverted yield curve. So right before 2008, you can see that if you invested for 3 months, you would got a better interest rate than if you invested for 30 years. That's wild, right? You don't expect that, to invest for such a little time and get a better interest rate than 30 years. And as you can see right here in about 06, 07, right, yield curve inverts, and then bam, we get hit with 2008 and the market completely tanks and falls apart. And then the yield curve goes back to normal right in about 09. Same thing with the dot-com bubble. You see the yield curve get very inverted, and then the dot-com bubble happens, everything falls apart, and right afterwards, the yield curve goes back to normal. This is where we are in 2023. Extremely inverted yield curve yet again. So short-term 3-month bonds are returning a much better interest rate than a 30-year bond. And this is the kind of precipice setting up. So we have an inverted yield curve also about 3 to 6 months before recession hits and rates fall. You have topped out stock market. And right now we are 1% away from an all-time high in the stock market. So we literally everything is setting up perfectly for rates to drop. It's textbook. It's exactly how it should happen. We have an extremely inverted yield curve. The market is at an all-time high. The Fed is already telling us they're going to drop rates 4 times next year, and everything is set up perfectly. So really all it comes down to is the timing and how quickly it happens. Some gurus are saying 30 to 60 days. I think that might be a little bit generous. It really depends on kind of what the Fed does and what data comes out. But the long and short of it is rate drops are coming. There's just really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when that happens, we all got to be prepared to be able to, go out and get that business and have, enjoy the flood that comes with it.
That's so good, Tom. And that's what I'm saying. Be spring loaded, be ready, have your systems in place, be ready to go to work because it's coming, and it's coming sooner than we think. Earlier this year, everyone was saying like third, fourth quarter. Like Tom said, they changed like on a dime right now, and they're looking like Tom said 30, 60 days. Some people are saying end the first quarter or maybe sooner. So, have your teams ready, be ready to go, because I know we have hundreds of pre-approved buyers sitting on the sideline waiting for rates to drop. And we tell everybody, listen, the purchase price is permanent. Get your purchase price now. Everybody lays up from Thanksgiving to May or March, right? Like everybody takes off, and you can get a good purchase price then. If you wait till the spring and you hop in with all the other competition and rates drop, we're going to go back to multiple offers over list price, and you're going to get a higher purchase price. So if you get your good purchase price now, you can always refi later. And just know on our team, every time a customer buys a home with us, we have this conversation with them that says, what's your dream payment? What would you want? So if they got 8% and they're like, I would absolutely love to have 6, we set an automatic trigger for that person. So every day the trigger goes out, checks the market. Is the 6% available for that person, their credit score, their address, their loan type? And then it fires off an email to them and goes, your 6 is available. You need to have a conversation with Tom, with Krista, with Scott, with Jeff, to see if it's saving you money. Because at that point, we're going to say, what's the market doing? Is it dropping even more to save more? Or do you need to lock it today before it bounces back up? So just know that that's something else that we do every time somebody gets a loan. And we can set that up for people that haven't even worked with us if you want. So you just set it and forget it. And then they don't have to worry about, is this the right time? And then make a phone call and wait on somebody. So any questions for Tom on what he said before we get started with Matt here? Everybody good? Okay. How about it, Matt?
All right, Jeff, I know you changed the PowerPoint. You want me to just go with mine? And I don't think
I think Corey's going to bring it up for you. Can you just speak
Okay.
to the slides?
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
100%. So, one, thank you for everybody's time. I appreciate it. I know we're all busy. So again, my name is Matt Garfold. I am the owner of GI Plumbing. We're on a mission to deliver excellence and give our clients what they need. And I think that's why this is such an important, meeting for you guys to hear on the complaints that were happening after customers are buying the home, at least on the plumbing side. So next slide, please. Yeah, so about me, I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2003 to 2007. Real quick, I'm married to my wife, Ashley, 15 years. I have 2 kids. I am a licensed master plumber. Started GI Plumbing 2015, rebranded in 2021 to where we're at now. From 2021 till now, we've grown from one van and myself to now 10 with 12 employees. And we've served over 5,000 people in the South Hills and North Hills over the last 2.5, 3 years.
That seems like such a high number, man. When I read that, I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah, we're on average about like 1,500 to 2,200, some a little bit higher per year. So we got 10 vans. These guys are running 3 to 4, sometimes 5 calls a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to take 2 minutes just to, people listen to, they know, like, and trust. I'm not here to pitch GI Plumbing or anything like that, but I did want to play this video real quick just to let you guys know kind of who I am, so you can know that where we're coming from when I give advice, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Can you guys hear it? Because I cannot.
I cannot.
Okay. And I shot this out last night in an email, so I don't know if people watched it, but let's see if
it doesn't, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, I emailed it to everybody on here, so you can watch the video in your email.
That's great. That saves time anyway. I want to be respectful of everybody's time.
Yep.
Long story short of the video, we're honest, okay? Today's quick agenda, I'm going to blow through, doing what's best for your client. I think that's what's the most important part. I know most of you real estate agents and you just don't know what you don't know. Then some tips for protecting from freezing pipes, as well as some general plumbing tips if we get to it. So these pictures you guys are about to see literally are pictures that we took ourselves from last year. At this point last year, as we went through the deep freeze. So this is, if this is one of your houses, I apologize, but this is literally a house that was in, I believe it was Bethel Park or South Park, that the customer went on vacation during Christmas last year, and this is what they came home to.
What happened here?
A pipe burst in the exterior wall of their shower, and it just ran and ran and ran, and then it ended up freezing. So
we talked about this. My wife has a rental property, and her tenants went away on Christmas for a week, and they turned the heat off in the house, thinking that they were going to save money. And then when she came back, toilets were cracked. This stuff happened all through the place.
Yeah.
Did they do the same thing? Like, did they shut off?
So when last year was a little bit of an anomaly because it got so cold, but what really hurts is when the wind blows. So last year there was houses that have been built for 75 years and never had a frozen or burst pipe that were bursting because the wind, like it was in a negative and the wind was just blowing against the house and it finds voids, right? And freezes. So what happened was the pipe froze and burst. And then as it got colder and colder, it just started freezing. Well, that pipe doesn't stop like running. The ice just expands and expands and expands and expands. It went all down their house. This house was, I don't know. I didn't even want to know what they had to pay to fix it, but you couldn't get in their front door because everything swelled up so bad in the house from the water soaking and expanding everything.
Wow. How do you stop that from happening?
Got to turn off the main water.
Okay.
As far as a burst pipe, there's some tips that you can do. If you have a frozen pipe, first thing you should do is go shut off the main water. But after it freezes, there's really nothing you can do as opposed to opening up cabinets underneath the kitchen sink and putting a space heater on it. You never really want to let any plumber come in and put a torch on anything because that's really not an option. Once it freezes, all you can do is really cross your fingers and hope that it doesn't, right? So if they were home, they would have noticed and been able to shut off the valve. But the fact that they weren't and they didn't shut off their valve before they went on vacation, this is ultimately what they came home to.
So before you go on vacation, shut the main water line off.
Always.
Okay. Dude, my dad walked around with a blowtorch like spring loaded.
Yeah. So you shouldn't do that anymore. You shouldn't.
He also flushed he used the toilet as a tiny garbage disposal.
That's also a no-no.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm next slide whenever you guys are ready. Yeah, so just more pictures. You can see it's coming out of the side of the brick of their house. A line burst that was on the exterior wall. That's basically what happened. That was just so bad. And that was it. That's what caused it. That little crack down that pipe is what caused all of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So tips to kind of prevent freezing pipes, right? Number one thing most burst lines is drain down your hose. Okay. There's a little picture of a ball valve you see, and as well as your hose obviously outside, but you want to turn your valve to the off position. If the handle's in line with the pipe, that means that water is still flowing. You want to have it at like a 90-degree angle. Okay. You obviously want to disconnect your hose from the actual hose spigot because your hose is going to freeze. It's a given, and it's going to burst. You're going to be buying a new hose come the springtime. Disconnect the hose, open up the water to the hose so you drain everything down the residual water that's sitting in the line, and then you can either leave that hose open or closed at this point. It does not matter. And if you have a frost-free hose bib, if some of you know what I'm talking about, that doesn't mean freeze-proof. What that frost-free hose bib does means it just like it protects you from maybe a night when it gets down in like the 30s, but they will burst.
Man, I'm going to be calling you shortly, man, because I screwed this up again this year.
Oh no!
Like I didn't detach the hose. I turned it off. I drained it, but I didn't detach the hose. And I know the hose is filled with water. It's gonna, yeah.
You got to. Yep. How to unfreeze a line? There really isn't much you can do. If a plumber comes in with a torch, kick him out. Like kick him out, right? You can prevent it. So one thing that if you know it's getting cold and you're prone to freezing, like at a certain sink or something like that, it's harder for moving water to freeze. Okay, so you want like a constant flow. So you want to open up your faucets, well, as much as you're willing to pay for water, right? But like really to a slow trickle. So that, and just you want to let that run while the cold spell's going through. I'd say once that happens, once we get down in like the 10s, especially in the negatives, but around like the single digits is probably, if you're prone to freezing, that's what you want to do. Open up a few sinks and let it go. Trust me, you're going to be saving a lot more in water than you will with maybe a restoration company or a plumbing bill, right? You don't want to be cutting holes or anything like that. You want to open up all cabinets and put a heat source blowing on the lines. If it's like if the freeze is specific to a single area, like say this kitchen sink, you want to open it up like that and maybe put a space heater on it. You can also use a hair dryer on the lines, but you're just going to be sitting there for a little while. And then there is pipe thawing, like what plumbers do. We don't do it because it's a big liability. You have to have like all copper pipes. And what that basically does is send an electric charge through your lines to unthaw everything. Sounds all great in theory, but some houses have burned down and caused some other damages when you do that. So, and you can't do it if you have any like CPVC lines, plastic lines, like you can't send an electric current through plastic. So it ain't going to happen. Nothing, can't do nothing. Turn off your water. So if you do have a break, right? Number one thing is you want to turn off your main water. You need to know where your main shutoff water, where your main valve is. Okay. That to your right is an example of your water meter and the shutoff valve to the right of it. So you always want to, if you do have a freeze and it's limited to if it's to your entire house, go turn off the main water immediately. That way, if something does break, you're not flooding your house. Okay. When you go to turn it back on, you want to turn it on slowly and listen for leaks. See where it's coming down the walls. If a burst occurs, you need to turn it off to limit the damage. So if you do see something, that's obviously going to stop the water from coming down your walls. Again, if you're leaving for an extended period of time, you should make a habit of turning this off when you leave, go on vacation. And you should put your water heaters on vacation mode. It'll save you on gas from heating up water when you're not using it. The other option you can get to limit this is they do make flow sensors now that we can put on your main line that actually is triggered by your phone. It'll actually, it correlates to your use and demand on water. When it notices that like your gallons per minute is high, it kicks off instantly, shut your water off instantly, and you can turn it on and off by your phone.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Things are doing today is pretty amazing.
You said your hot water tank has what kind of button on it?
A vacation mode. Yep. So if you have a traditional tank gas-fired heater, this isn't for electric, but there will be a knobs on how you relight it. It'll be A, B, and C, and then VAC. You just turn that knob to VAC, and what that does is that basically just leaves a pilot running, so that when you're on vacation, your water is not cooling down and heating, and you're wasting gas and energy efficiency.
Wow.
And then when you come home, you turn it to A, between A and B. Yep. Some pictures for you, right? We're probably going to get talking into clogged drains, but this is a real picture of somebody that was dumping grease down their drain, and their kitchen line got clogged because of garbage disposal and what they were putting down the garbage disposal, and that's what came out of their line. We had to cut it open. You can't snake that once it gets to its point. So I know that kind of looks like the dirty stuff, but that's just grease and kitchen buildup in their kitchen sink line.
So about a year ago, my son showed me a TikTok about grease.
Yeah.
And so you just take aluminum foil, right? Stick it in the sink, like push it down in the drain.
Yep.
Dump the grease in the aluminum foil.
Wrap it up and throw it away.
Throw it away. Because dude, I had coffee cups everywhere filled with grease that I would dump in the garbage at some point. Yep. But that was the easiest way to take care of the grease. Yeah.
Obviously, the best way is to put it in something so nothing goes down the drain. But I do it too. So
okay,
yeah, that's what I do.
And some people don't know that. Like they don't understand. You put grease down the drain, it's going to harden, right, and just clog up the pipes, right?
Yep. Grease, coffee grinds, everything, and then this is the is going to drink. That is what happens when you flush baby wipes down the toilet. They don't break down like toilet paper. That is a whole wad of baby wipes that we pulled out that caused some significant damage in a customer's house. A lot of times when it gets that bad, you really can't snake them out. You're breaking up the concrete to get to a point that you can pull them out by hand. But they got very lucky. But that's what happens when you flush baby wipes down the drain.
What about the flushable ones?
That's what I was going to say, Karen.
That's a great question. Listen to me. There is no such thing. They're lying. They should actually be sued. There's no such thing as flushable wipes. They do not break down like toilet paper. They don't.
No, there really isn't, because when we had company over, they flushed them down our toilet and our sewage all backed up that night.
There is no such thing as a flushable wipe. It's not. They don't break down. Toilet paper, if you put it in the water and you let it sit there, you'll see it disintegrate. Baby wipes do not do that.
Oh, dude.
I actually have clauses in my leases that say if you put flushable wipes down there, you're responsible for it. And I've had
Yes.
many tenants have to pay,
Yeah.
most begrudgingly, but it was
Yeah.
either pay or move the hell out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I'll be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, when we go to the job, we don't flush baby. We go into the bathroom and we look on the back of the toilet. There's a big thing of wipes, right? And then you look on the kitchen sink or the bathroom sink and there's a big thing of wipes. We unclog it. We have, you flush wipes? No, we do not. No, we do not. We pull out wipes.
Wow.
Yeah.
My plumber, unfortunately, isn't you guys, but my plumber knows. Pull it out, show me evidence, show
Yep.
me a flushable wipe so that I can document it, and then I'll just take care of it.
Absolutely. That's just,
Dave,
and
thanks
then-
for sharing that, because that's
Yeah.
clutch for owning rental properties, because I have a few rental properties and I need to put that into the lease because that's a huge expense. When we bought our house in 2014, it sounds horrible, but I've been doing loans since 2001. I did not do a sewer test. I didn't do a camera line test. We weren't here 6 months and the sewage started coming back up into the basement because of the roots from the trees in the back.
Yep.
And wasn't the baby wipes, but at the same time, like for the rental properties, that's a good thing to put in there for your protection.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So that last picture was just what grease does at your line. It just builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up. And at that point, when it gets that bad, you can't snake it out. You can't hydrojet it. You have to cut it out. So other plumbing tips, garbage disposals. I told Jeff, and I think that's what started this whole conversation, is they're probably the worst thing ever invented. And they're absolutely named the worst thing they can possibly name. You really shouldn't be putting anything down a garbage disposal, if you ask me, because none of it's meant to go down your drains. Your drains are supposed to handle water. That's it. Urine and poo. That's it. So eggshells. Go ahead, Jeff.
It's a whole process here. Like the leftovers, like I stand there, let the water run. I'm dropping everything down there, letting that thing run. Like that's a no. Like I should be tossing that in the garbage can.
You will be in that situation where I showed you with the blue tarp with all the stuff backed up in the kitchen sink at some point. 100%. No eggshells. There eggshells and coffee grinds are the absolute, other than grease, are the absolute worst things that you could put down your garbage disposals, because they actually just sit. They don't, the water, they're so light that water passes through them and they never go out with the water. They just build up and build up at the bottom of your pipe. Your eggshells will just do somersaults as water goes by and then just sink right back down. Pasta does not break down. It just gets sticky. Lettuce, anything fibrous, it does not go down. It just builds up. Meat, obviously, we've seen people put gum like that's just going to ruin your garbage disposal immediately. And then potato peels are also another thing. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, everybody. You shouldn't be putting anything down it. Orange peels and like lemon peels and stuff like that. That's great. Actually, they actually break down and make it smell good, but it's really not made for anything. They're the worst things you could have in a house, in my opinion.
Start a compost with that stuff, except for the meat and gum.
Exactly. So it's just not, they're claimed to be, it's just not good, right? We already went over this, but toilet drains, the only thing that you should be putting down that is toilet paper, urine, and poo. I know Jeff told me his dad used to flush bones and like, listen, we like floss, Q-tips, that's all going, feminine products, that is all going to lead to eventually needing a plumber, you know?
Yeah.
Feminine products are in my lease also.
That's a smart man. I'd put floss and Q-tip. You'd be amazed on how much floss we pull out of drains.
Wow. I got to have my family watch this. They're watching 100%. Yeah, my dad would throw everything. He threw it like soup down the toilet, and we couldn't. The toilet wouldn't work forever, and the plumber came. He nailed the ham bone to the bathroom wall so my dad could see what was blocking the toilet. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I thought that's how you did it.
No, sir. That's a no-no.
All right.
Again, and then I know you all do right by your clients, so I'm not saying you're doing bad, but this is just some of the stuff that we've noticed over the last 2-3 years. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, so I just want to fly through this real quick of things that are happening after they close, right? As the demand for the houses and homeowners have gone up, homeowners are waiving inspections, obviously, as a negotiating tool. Above already paying above asking price. So they're probably at their max, like most of them are. And I have some terrible stories of homeowners that have gotten divorces because of plumbing issues and issues that they should have come up with on the inspection. But numerous occurrences of this have been happening monthly, basically since 2021, and have led to lawsuits, people suing. I just want to keep everybody out of court, especially you guys, right? So in my opinion, the last things you ever want your customers, your clients to waive when they're purchasing a house is a sewer camera inspection inside and out, right? The two main things that are going to cost the most money in a new house are a roof and your sewers. Right. So we charge a $93 camera inspection. It is worth its weight in gold. We charge it such a cheap price because we don't want this to happen to anybody. Right. We have a couple, and I won't mention where they're located or anything, but they overpaid for a house, their dream house, them and 3 kids, and they thought they were getting into their next phase. And then one thing out, they had to get a roof, and then they had to get a sewer. And then as we were digging a sewer, their gas line went. Long story short, they paid like $200,000 for the house, and they were like 150, 160 grand in stuff that they had to pay after. Ultimately, they've been there a year. We were just there the other day. They're getting a divorce, and it's like all because of the stress from the house. Like it's just in it, man, I get it, but it's just a common occurrence, right? You go to an outside sewer replacement, your minimum is 10K. An interior, your minimum's 5K, right? So $93 camera inspection, you could potentially save your customer a lot of money, but more importantly, it's going to save you and maybe your insurance or your company from being entangled in a lawsuit, because unfortunately we get them a few a year where we go there and they weren't, the seller wasn't maybe as honest about what's going on, or they had some work done and they didn't know. And then before you know it, I'm getting an email, can you verify this is exactly right? And it's an actual whole litigation paper on they're going after this homeowner and suing them.
Wow.
Based on what we found, right? And they're going after them. I just got one the other day. They're going after them for like over 25K. So
that's no joke. I just paid 18K for a complete sewer line to service replacement.
Yep. Yeah, they cost money. I mean, they're expensive. It's intensive work. So pay the $93 or get somebody out there to camera, in my opinion. If you're going to waive inspection, do it contingent upon at least a camera inspection, right? Last other thing I want to go over just real quick is home warranties. Again, I'm going for personal experience. So we used to work for home warranty companies and we got out of them because I just did not like how they operate. Their whole goal is to not pay for anything. That's how they make money. Right. So even getting a hold of, like, for your clients to get a hold as a contractor was working for them, we couldn't even get a hold of them. Like they make it so hard, and it shouldn't be. Right. So, and then you have to use their vetted plumbers, which their vetting is who is the cheapest. And the whole goal is to get in and get out and not charge you guys anything, because that plumber's at least getting a diagnostic fee. Right. Anytime they spend there like over like a half hour, an hour, that plumber's losing money. Okay. So the correspondence to even get approval once you get a claim, it's just a nightmare. Like I said, we got out of it. Their common practice is to compensate the plumbers to not sell anything, if that makes sense. All of them are same, some are better than others, but again, they want to do everything as lowest cost as possible out of pocket, and their big thing is pre-existing conditions, which can literally tie to anything. So your hot water tank goes out and you think you're covered by warranty, but you see that the plumber that comes sees a little bit of rust, they're gonna say, nope, pre-existing condition, you're not covered. Now you wasted $500 to $800 and they're not going to cover it. They're just not like that. They're not in the game to replace the stuff, right? So we have some other options that we feel would be more beneficial to your customer than maybe having them buy that home warranty.
And Matt, what you said about the home warranty was my experience as well.
Yeah.
Right. Because every time I called them for something, I'm like, it's $75 for us to even talk to you. And then it was like, well, yeah, we're not going to pay for it anyways.
Yep.
And then I told my wife, I'm like, I'm done calling them. I'm just going to get it fixed. What are your other options that you have besides a home warranty?
Yeah. So I think I have I don't know what the next slide is,
Okay.
but really, so this is another option, really, like as far as plumbing, right? Like utility service line insurance through your local water authority. Again, they used to be good a few years ago. They're pretty much taking the same approach as the home warranties. A lot of red tape, communication is minimal, very complicated process to even be considered for a replacement. You have to have so many backups or so many issues. And there's actually a cap on the amount of money given for a replacement, which still puts you at a risk of a high bill. Like I've seen some where they only give like $4,000 on a $25,000 job. So again, my personal opinion, I just saw a comment totally disagree. Some people have great experiences with it. I can just go from our experience on us working for a few of them, and it just wasn't a fit, right? So my experience is pretty much the same as Jeff had, and that's even coming from the contractor side.
Yeah.
So
Call me, Shooter. Who do you use, man? Who's your home warranty through?
Hey, we use Jeff. We use America's Preferred Home Warranty, and we pay the plumber. So the plumber doesn't have to deal with anything. They just diagnose it. The company tells us what they cover. We pay the plumber their cost. Whenever we get reimbursed, that's up to us. You know what I mean? Or what the company.
And what was the name of that? What was the name of that?
America, it's America's Preferred Home Warranty. We've had it for every year since we've owned our house.
I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah.
That's all. Well, that's
great.
good to know. You know, Tom, I'm not saying I'm
Oh
just
no,
going.
I'm just saying, I'm saying some of the other companies may be having issues, but I tell you what, we found this year we had another septic tank. We had no idea.
Oh yeah.
And they paid a portion, of what we had to deal with. I mean, but yeah, we've used it every year. I mean, we've had dishwashers, washer and dryer. I mean, everything. It's never let alone plumbing issues.
Sorry, I'm here too with Erica on Tommy's computer. But yeah, basically whenever we have a service, a service needed, we call our own contractor. They come out, diagnose it, say this is what's needed. Fortunately, we actually just had our dishwasher. They fixed it. They paid $300 to fix it. It was not fixed. So we called the home warranty company again. They pushed us through and said, well, call somebody and see how much it's going to cost to replace. We wanted a better one, but they gave us what, $700?
There was no parts. They quit making the parts, so they just
So
replaced it as well. So it's just, I guess just what you work with.
we pay the contractor on site, or else they invoice us. We pay them directly, and then we are reimbursed by the home warranty company.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And are you in? And you don't have to tell me what you guys pay for that per year, but are you within that $500-800 range per year?
Well, we pay a little bit more only because we have septics, we have pools, we have this, that. We have a big garage over there that's covered with a separate.
I think it's like $680. I want to say.
Yeah, it's $680 for your typical.
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
That covers everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Well, then I don't know if you guys can offer that one, but to your clients, that's good advice, because I'll be honest with you, I've never heard one good thing come from a home warranty company. So that's actually relieving, to be honest with you, because
Like most of them are trying to switch over to that sort of model because of the fact that they're doing so well, and so many agents and brokerages.
That's
are
great.
switching to them.
Oh, that's so good. It's so great to hear.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's another warranty company called Achosa, and they kind of do the same thing where you pick your own contractor and then they just reimburse the contractor.
How do you spell that one, Denise?
Achosa.
Okay. Yeah, because that's not like. And Tommy or Denise, when did they start doing it that way? Because that sounds more like Aflac to me, right? Like than what I had, because the one I had was not that.
So I think America's Preferred has always done it that way. We were with before we had America's Preferred, we had HSA, and I mean, I don't want to knock. We just had a heck of a time with certain things. And most contractors did not want to work with them.
Yeah.
And you didn't get to pick your own contractor. So,
Exactly.
you know, they would send out somebody that from Beverly Heating, you know, from some other place, and it's like, okay, they would diagnose the issue. The home warranty would say, okay, we're going to cover this much, but it's going to cost you $10,000, so you're on the hook for the other, you know, $9,500 or whatever it might be. It's like, okay, well, I don't even want to use that contractor. So anyhow,
Yeah,
it's
sorry
just,
to hijack your
yeah,
call.
with
Jeff.
the-
No, that's
listen,
great.
I'm so thankful you said this. Like, can you drop, like, in Michelle, you talked, Roland, you said there's two other ones out there, APHW and Guard. Can you talk about them too? And can you drop in the chat contacts for these companies? Because this is a good thing. Like, this is a great thing. Like, I was in Matt's shoes going, if somebody would ask me, I was giving bad advice going, don't do the home warranty thing because it's not worth it, but this is good stuff.
That's great.
well, and you have to understand too, it does cover the agents as well, you know, unless and Michelle could attest to this. She has had a situation in the past where, thank God, she offered the home warranty and they declined it, or else, you know, insurance wouldn't have covered her during, you know, a lawsuit between the seller and the buyer. So
Yeah,
anyhow,
that's a
sorry, that's
caveat
her
on
story to
E&O.
tell, not mine. But yeah, it's pretty imperative that we offer those as agents from our sales.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
it's not only the home warranty companies that are crooked. It's the people who work with the contractors who work with the home warranty companies. Like, I had a situation where when I bought this house that I'm in now, you know, they gave me a free home warranty. I didn't think anything of it, but then the furnace went out, heat pump, right? Needed a new compressor. Not only did they put the cheapest compressor they could possibly find that lasted 32 days and put the same one back in, it lasted 28 days. And on the third one, I'm like, look, you know, we should like stop this madness because it's cold in my house, right? Every 30 days, I can't have it be cold. So we got, you know, once again, they hired the Beverly Services, right? And there's a clause that says that, you know, they'll take care of all the work, but you have to pay for the Freon, right? Or the coolant. And Beverly Services charged me $1,200 for a charge.
Oh, wow.
And you could get the can of Freon for $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And they're just making up their losses in the rates they're charging you,
yeah,
right?
'cause
So
the
these
pays
guys
aren't
know the
obvious.
game too. Yeah, well, I sued Beverly Services and I won, right? And they dropped it and went away, right? But it was just absolutely a complete pain in the buttocks.
Right,
You
which
know?
has been again, and I'm so glad to hear that, you know, Tom, that you and your wife have had a great experience, because I love hearing that, because all I'm about is just making sure that the customers get what they need, right? Instead of having to stress. Like, plumbing does not have to be stressful. It shouldn't be. Like, it's stressful to have the issue, but you should have faith in knowing that whoever you're going to get into the house is going to be, you know, honest, upfront, transparent. That's great. I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal.
Michelle, can you share your story too, just so that the agents in the room can benefit from it as well?
Yeah, I had a client who, after they closed, discovered a leak in, I don't know, some line underneath the cement driveway, and it had surfaced actually right after they were moving in. And if a buyer declines a home warranty, I always get that the warranty companies issue a waiver saying the buyer declined the warranty. And so he, of course, wanted to sue everybody involved in the transaction, including the lender. And because I had that warranty signed, so our E&O insurance wasn't going to cover anything. And I showed them this waiver. I'm like, look, we offered him everything. Like, he had the option to do inspections. He could have done a camera test. He had everything available. He could have done the warranty. And I submitted that waiver, and our attorneys, it was like just a shut the case down.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, and that's the whole point of why I was kind of going over this, because, like, you know, we've been on the bat, like, people coming out and they have an issue, and then they look at us like we're the bad guy. I'm like, listen, man, did you get an inspection? No, we waived it. I'm like, well, yeah, I get it. You're the heat of the moment. You wanted the house, but there's consequences and repercussions for this, right? So, again, that's well, I'm glad you
So
know,
good.
if you guys have to offer them, that's great. Like giving an offer. But they're just not, again, some people have named a few, they're just not worth it. They're not even worth your time to even pick up the phone and call, to be honest with you. But you asked Jeff on us on what I feel might some other solutions be. Get a camera inspection inside and out. You can have a plumbing company give like a comprehensive evaluation, because home inspectors, if they do get a home inspection, really only check in to make sure water flows and drains down the sink. That's it. Like they're not getting into anything detailed because they don't want the liability. There is things out there that the homeowners can get on their actual homeowners insurance, like an umbrella policy on sewer line coverage, which they can get like up to like $25,000, $30,000 if something should go wrong, which have actually saved a lot of our clients from paying out of pocket. But as they're walking through these houses, if they're gonna waive the inspection, right, at least let them use common sense and don't have them focus on the faucets and fixtures, because if those go bad, those are easy to replace, right? Instead, they just want to be focused on this. If they're just going to go through and waive inspections, we have to get in, look at this, look at the outdated bathrooms, okay? If it's old from the 50s, it has the green and blue towel and the purple tubs, right? Know that the drain lines underneath that are probably pretty old, right? So you might not have, but chances are you're going to have some plumbing issues. Look at the water heater. Water heaters in this area really only, if you get 7 years out of it, it's a miracle, right? They say 7 to 10. I say 5 to 7 here in this area with how bad our water is. So if it's up there in age, you can just look right at the nameplate. If you see rust or something at the top, if it doesn't look the greatest shape, like eventually that's going to be a cost that they have to maybe consider. I'm not an HVAC guy, but obviously you just heard Dave talk about the furnace. If it's from 1980, like chances are that's going to get replaced. And then water filtration, if they have a filter or softener or anything in like that, you want to look to see if there's any corrosion or anything of that nature, right? Those are just like the main things that cost the most money. Also like the main shutoff valve, you want them or yourself to look at if it's corroded. Like these are just the most common things that we're in a house fixing. Pressure regulators should be 80 psi and under. If you have a home inspector doing the house. Water heaters, when you went over, drain lines, cast iron, copper, and clay. If it's not plastic, chances are it's old, right? Plastic's been around since the 70s, so the pipes are in there are old. Expansion tanks on the water heater, obviously clogged drains. Shower faucets, if they're dripping, if they're like the old 3-handle faucets, you're gonna eventually have problems with that. And then obviously hose bibs outside, if they're rusted, the handles are off. Like those are just the most common plumbing issues for people that buy houses, and they're calling us within 6 months to come fix.
You can double the life of a hot water tank just by getting rid of the corrosion rod that's inside the tank and put an electric one in.
You can put an electric anode rod in. You're supposed to drain it down every year. Like there's a lot of maintenance that people just don't know that you should be doing. There's actually water filtration systems that we can put in that will actually extend the life of your hot water tank, so on and so forth. But you have to do the work, right? You can't just let it sit there. Our water in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh area is very high chlorinated, very high in corrosion. It's just not the greatest water. So it affects all the fixtures.
Any questions for Matt? I know we went over, but this was so good. Like,
yeah, I'm so sorry to take
no, that's not like you. I hijacked the first 20 minutes of it, talking about other stuff, but this was just so good. Everybody's still here because it was a value add. There's 2 questions in the chat. One is, are you NASCO? What is it? NASCO certified?
Yeah, so we are not, and the reason why is I don't believe in it. I get where it's coming from, but I just think it's a sham. I think it's a way of the township to put the replacement of infrastructure on the homeowner and not the township. If anybody doesn't know what NASCO certified is, it's basically you have to go to a class to learn how to grade sewers to say if they're broken or not. And it's just, I think it's just, I get where they're coming from, but listen, I'm a licensed master plumber. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If I see roots in your line, I'm going to tell you, listen, it's bad. You may get some time off, you may not. But if I go there and see like a little hairline crack this big, I'm like, listen, I wouldn't do anything in it if it's my house, right? But if you go by the NASCA certification, if you're selling a house, that needs dug up and replaced because a drip of groundwater might get in that sewer.
And then there's another question that says, are you familiar with insurance companies having age limitations on sewer lines?
I am not familiar with that. And the great thing about the insurance companies, if you get like and again, I'm not a insurance agent, so you guys got to take this from what I've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. You know, if you add it into your homeowner's policy or an umbrella policy, or some homeowners policy are actually even including sewer line insurance in it already, right? There is like no limitation that you have to wait 6 months. Like if you move in and you have a clog within a week and it's because of a collapsed sewer line, like you sign, it's no different than homeowners. If you move in the next day and you have a flood and you want to put a homeowner's claim in, that's part of the insurance policy. So as far as I'm aware, I am not aware of any stipulations on age. Again, most insurance companies are going to hit you with the pre-existing conditions, right? That's going to be in every policy, right? That's their cop out. But I believe if you push it enough, like, hey, listen, I bought the homeowner, they don't even require like to buy this sewer line. They don't even require a sewer camera inspection for them to see the line, whether they're going to insure it or not. Like it's a no-brainer if you ask me.
And Jody's got a question here.
Yeah. So I brought up the age limitation thing, just simply because, I have been dealing with a sewer line. It broke in my house. We had like a total loss in the basement. We've been dealing with it for 6 months. My insurance agent, who is a local resident of Mount Lebanon, every year I would just reach out because she would reevaluate our insurance, and I would just say, hey, listen, are we good? Like, do we have what we need? Just because of the mini backups. And she made a really big mistake. We worked with farmers, and farmers made a change to coverage where there is a 50-year age limitation. Okay. So now with my clients, just as an agent, just to protect myself, I mean, I'm not an insurance agent, but what I have been urging my clients to do is to, when they are getting home insurance, I recommend everybody do this. One, I will almost like force them to get a sewer line scope, buy a master plumber that's reputable. And there's certain ones that I will not work with. But two, I have been urging them that when they're talking to their insurance company, to verify if there is an age limitation on the line, because they declined my claim. It can cost them $8,500 to line it, but what they will cover is, because my porch is attached to my home, because it's 11 feet underground, they're willing to spend $70,000 to dig all of that up. But had I not had an age limitation, that liner would have been covered. 100%. So it's crazy, guys. Like, I cannot stress to you, like, I used to not care. I used to say, just get sewer line coverage. You're fine. No, like, you need to read the fine print. Right. Just like everything else we have to recommend with regards to call the Bureau of Mines to make sure that you are not, in an area that was mined where they, are not recommending insurance. Like, this is just as important, guys. Like, even though it's not our job for them to get the right insurance, I still feel like as agents, this potentially could take my family down financially. Do you know what I'm saying? And this could be the same thing for everybody else. So that age limitation piece, that little technicality.
But she did cap.
Wow, that's new, Jody. That's new to me. I have not heard that one yet, which is amazing.
I'm sick about it.
All these houses in this area are so old, and that's the problem that we're having here. Everyone is just the houses are, they're old, right?
Yeah.
What they did back in the 50s and 60s just didn't hold up. It held up great for so long, right? They don't even make terracotta pipe anymore, right? It's just it's a shame.
And there's another piece of this too. A lot of times people will say, just get the insurance through the utility companies. Yeah. So what's interesting, I'm only telling you guys this, and if it bores you, I apologize, but I'm just trying to save other people from what I'm dealing with. We forgot that we ended up electing insurance through American Water Resources. But what's interesting is this backup that resulted in $40,000 worth of restoration to my basement. It's not even refinished. Because we didn't go through American Water Resources to begin with, and they have no documentation or record, they sent their plumbers out, and I tried to get my plumber as a preferred partner of theirs because I wanted to work with him and not all these other companies. They declined that as well because we never started the policy or claim. We have no evidence of a backup, even though my basement currently is gutted and I lost everything in that basement. So that's why I like urge everyone, just like make sure you get the right insurance. I would not recommend Farmers. I've been told that Erie is a really good insurance company. I don't know if you would agree with that statement.
I 100% would.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And not to call Jeff Hayes, you're on here, right? Like, not
Yes.
to call you out and put you on the spot, but can you speak to this, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was waiting for an opportunity to share. Everything that Jody's saying, is 100% correct. And to back up what Matt has been telling everybody, the service line coverage, you don't have to have an umbrella policy, even though I do recommend umbrella policies. You can put that onto any existing homeowners policy. You don't need to buy the extra coverage. And I will say this, that every insurance company is making changes. So even what you knew to be true at one time, it might not be true now. Right? The industry as a whole is losing 17 cents on the dollar. They're changing their policies to try to mitigate risk as much as they can. So the two things I would say right off the bat is, one, document everything. All right, spend the money, like he's saying, on the cameras. Don't waive anything in the beginning because it'll cost you later on. And then secondly, if you do find yourself in a situation with a claim, you're going to get someone on the other end of the phone that might not be an insurance expert. They're just an hourly employee reading some policy, and they're going to do exactly what that Jody said, exactly what Matt said, which is they're going to try to say it's not covered, or it's not our responsibility. You have to call this person or that person or whatever, just to try to get out of the liability of it. But don't take that as the final word. You can push that issue. If you have the documentation, stand up for yourself, pull out the policy, go through that, and make them prove without a shadow of a doubt that it isn't something that's covered. Because like I said, a lot of times you're just going to try, if you say, they're going to bank on, most people are just going to say, okay.
Yeah, right.
And then the few people that stand up for themselves, they're going to win, and they're going to get their stuff covered. But the other thing that people have to keep in mind too is that the insurance is to indemnify you, which means bring you back to whole. You're not going to get a new house. You're not going to get better than what you had. So manage your expectations as far as that goes too. So protect yourself, but by documenting, doing that extra work and everything, but also make sure that you have a insurance agent or broker that is going to go to battle with you in the event that you do have a claim, because there's just some people that just want to sell you a policy, and then you're not going to talk to them until it's time to renew, if that. And then if anybody has any questions, and I'm not saying this stuff, to try to get business from anybody, but feel free to reach out to me. I'll answer any questions that you have, just for the sake of time, on this call, on a Zoom call and everything. But definitely, I do back up everything that they said. And there's always in any industry going to be horror stories, that doesn't mean that is the way that it is all the time. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. You have a unique situation, that just is like, where did this come from? And it's unfortunate. But as a whole, I do recommend service line coverage for everybody that buys homeowners insurance, and through the insurance company, not through the utility, because the utility company, like American Water, they hire it. It's not even American Water. It's a third party company that they are using, and they don't care.
They're horrible. They're horrible.
They're horrible.
Horrible.
And I just did a claim with somebody, the same thing, and they denied everything and said, no, that's the insurance company's responsibility. So they try to get out of paying anything, any way that they can. And they're actually more expensive than if you get it added onto your homeowner's policy. So
Jeff,
hopefully that helps.
Thank you for saying that, because for years going back, I would always get those in the mail every month. You need sewer line protection.
That's right.
Then I called my insurance agent. I'm like, do you have this coverage? And he said, I do not. This is years ago. And I got it through the sewer line company, like you guys were talking about. And then I said, then he calls me and goes, hey, I now have it. So I now have it through my insurance agent. But
Excellent.
can you drop your contact information in the chat?
Sure.
At the end of these agent academies, we always send out a replay. And then we can put your contact information in there. Matt, if you can drop your contact information in the chat as well, we'll send that out as well with the replay. We'll send the home warranties out. We're going to send Gary Brecka out for your health. Watch that episode with Joe Rogan. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It's just all natural stuff that you can do to get healthier. And next month, I'm going to have the attorney on. I'm going to call, see if he can do it. So that anybody that has an LLC, and I would tell you to tell all of your realtor friends, if they have an LLC, they need to be on this call. The fine is like $500 a day for every day that you don't file this paperwork. And you need to have an attorney that knows what they're doing to get this filed for you. It's a one-time file. And then I love and I'm thankful for everybody on this call for collaborating, right? We all get better when we share information together. And so Tommy for speaking up, Dave for speaking up, like Jeff for speaking up, like everybody for speaking up. Michelle, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, especially to Tom too. That was huge.
Yeah, I love
that. Absolutely.
Because this is how we get back, and this market's coming back in a hurry, and we got to be spring loaded to be out there and doing our best for the people out there that don't do this every day. So, thank you so much, everybody. Yes.
A little bit of advice to Jody: if farmers took your money without confirming or having any type of questionnaire that related to the age of your plumbing, and then at the end, after they had taken your money, denied your claim, I'd be up their ass eating a ham sandwich at the magistrate. It costs you $150 to file with the magistrate. You can represent yourself, right? Now they have to hire an attorney. They have to come to the actual magistrate hearing, and they have to defend themselves, right? It's unconscionable what they're doing. Right.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I don't want to keep everybody on for this, but we don't know what to do. I'm getting ready to call a supervisor.
I've done it 3 times with Sedgwick, sued them at the magistrate. They paid immediately. Right.
Listen,
can I call you, Tom? Can I call you?
Yeah, Jody, I've known Dave for 2 decades. He takes zero crap. So like if there's somebody that you want in your corner, it's Dave Frank. Yeah.
Can I call you?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'll get you his number, Jody. Yep.
Thanks.
And then Lisa Smigo asked, did you say anything getting for fees for tenant registration? I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
Who asked that question?
Lisa Schmigel? I think she's trying to.
My husband had a question, and I misheard what you said about the $500 fee. Is that for a tenant registration, or are you talking about LLCs?
Oh,
city attorney.
So LLC. So next month, early on in this meeting, I said, what do you want to hear next month? You want business planning, or there's a new law out that if you own an LLC, you have to file the paperwork one time in the year 2024. And if you don't file it or don't file it correctly, the fine is $500 per day for not filing it. And so next month on Agent Academy, I'm going to call and see if I can get them on, an attorney on to speak to this so that you're not paying this humongous fine. And anybody else you know that owns an LLC, realtor or not, if they own an LLC, make sure they hop on our Agent Academy next month.
If they know anything about the rental registration, say Pittsburgh.
You don't know anything about the rental registrations fees for a city of Pittsburgh. They want to charge landlords fees if you don't register your tenants. You don't know anything
It's like
about that.
$1,000 a day fine.
I personally,
well-
but does anybody on this call know about that?
If not, we know a real estate attorney. My husband brought it up because he's hearing the phone call, but I think that's another topic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
I'm
want their
good.
tax money, right? They want their local tax money from
yeah,
the
city
people that
figures out
live in
any
there.
way to get their money from
Yep.
us. Yep. Just another money
Yep.
scheme.
Yep.
That's
So,
exactly what it is.
Yep.
I dealt with that with my rentals, and it's all about making sure that they're getting their tax dollars. So they want to know exactly who's staying in what apartment and everything, and that's what that's for.
Yep. But just to be respectful of everyone's time, this was phenomenal. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And if you're still here, it obviously added value and it's good for you. Reach out if you have any questions. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy some time with your family, some downtime. I know we crushed it this year getting after it. We're going to take a couple days off and then come back hard, getting ready to get after it. So if you need anything, text us, email us, call us, whatever works for you, works for us. And have a great day.